Hi, welcome back with another movie explanation. Today, I'm going to explain a horror thriller film called Pet Cemetery. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The movie opens up with a scene where we see a car is going through a long woods. In the car, we see Louis Creed, his wife Rachel, and their young children Ellie and Gage go to an isolated wood cottage outside Ludlow. They are actually coming from Boston. They are coming from a big village to a small place. The next day, when Rachel and Ellie went for a walk, they saw processions of children through the woods. The children were wearing and were taking a body of a dead dog on a buggy. Both of them got a bit scared and doubted what was going on. Ellie comes into a pet cemetery as soon as her mother went from there. As she went to the actual place, she got frightened by the sight. There were many bodies of dead animals with their respective masks. There was a huge wall on which Ellie tried to climb. She wanted to see what was on the other side. Ellie's foot slipped when she tried to climb up. She then meets her neighbor, Jude Randall, who came there and helped Ellie by removing the thorns and thin branches that were stuck in Ellie's leg. He tells Ellie that the place is a cemetery for pet animals and it is a very old ritual in there. Rachel, Ellie's mom, comes there in search of Ellie, and Randall tells her that he is their neighbor. He also adds that she shouldn't have left her kid out in this jungle like that. Randall instantly strikes up a connection with the family. Louis, who works at a university hospital, is unable to save the life of Victor Pascal, a student who has been struck by a car. There's a very bad road near Louis' place. The road is very accident prone. Victor warns Louis to keep away from the woods, declaring the barrier must not be shattered. Louis has nightmares about Victor's, telling him to stay away from the woods. Church, Ellie's beloved pet cat, is struck by a truck and discovered by Louis and Jude. Jude persuades Louis to bury Church deep in the pet cemetery, knowing how distraught Ellie will be. The next day, Louis is astounded to see that Church is still alive, albeit more violent and filthy than before, scratching Ellie and bringing a dead bird into the house. Louis converts Jude, who informs him that the pet cemetery has the ability to resurrect the dead and is home to Wendigo that the locals feared before fleeing. Louis finds Church sitting on Gage in his crib and abandons him on the side of a road, telling Ellie that he ran away. Ellie's birthday is celebrated by the family. Ellie notices Church in the road while playing hide and seek with her friends and rushes up to him. Gage pursues and is nearly hit by a truck, but Louis saves him. When the driver swerves to avoid Gage, a big tank breaks loose, hitting and killing Ellie, who was still on the road. Rachel and Gage travel to spend a few days with Rachel's parents, who are upset. Louis pays a visit to Jude, who informs him that he is aware that he is considering burying Ellie in the pet cemetery and advises him against it. Louis seizes the chance to dig up Ellie's body and bury it in the pet cemetery after Jude passes out from drinking. Ellie reappears later that evening, pale and with a noticeably meaner and cooler disposition. Meanwhile, Rachel is alarmed when Gage begins to have nightmares and specifically mentions Pascal. Rachel travels home, unable to contact Louis, and while stopping in traffic, she contacts Jude to check on him. Louis turns Jude away when he comes to visit. Jude, on the other hand, notices Ellie staring at him from her bedroom window and retreats to his own home. Jude is surprised by Church as he prepares to kill Ellie, and in the confusion, Ellie slashes his ankle with a scalpel she took from Louis. Ellie mocks Jude by impersonating his deceased wife Norma and stabbing him to death. Louis is surprised when Rachel and Gage arrive at the house. Rachel is shocked when Ellie introduces herself to her, and she hurries upstairs with Gage. While Louis is attempting to persuade Rachel that Ellie is still their daughter, she notices that Ellie has vanished and goes to Jude's house to locate her. There, in the meantime, Rachel is injured by a knife-wielding Ellie, but she manages to flee to the toilet with Gage and barricades herself in. When Louis comes to the house, he discovers Rachel attempting to lower Gage out the bathroom window. Gage is apprehended by Louis, and Rachel is stabbed to death by Ellie. Louis puts Gage in the van and goes upstairs to discover Rachel dying and pleading not to be buried. Rachel suffers immensely before she is visually stabbed to death, teased and tormented by the ghastly ghost inhabiting her daughter's body. This time it is tiny Ellie who transports her mother's body to the cemetery and brings her back to life, rather than Louis. Louis is closing in on him, and just as he's about to finish the job by murdering his daughter, his reanimated wife creeps up behind him and stabs him in the back. Rachel and Ellie bury Louis together in order to resurrect him as one of them. Gates, the only living member of the Creed family, gets imprisoned in the car towards the end of the film, which is kind of terrifying. He sees the living bodies of his mother, father, and sister approaching him through the windshield. Louis walks over to Gage's window just as the credits begin to roll. The implication, like those before it, is plain, yet the ambiguity remains. Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. Stay safe and never forget, you are awesome.